What's going on, everyone? Hope everyone's doing well. So today we have the honor of having the one and only Miss Hayley Paige. Hayley is an international renowned wedding dress designer, and it's likely that if you've been to a wedding in the last 10 years, you have seen her work. She has even designed dresses for celebrities like Chrissy Teigen. Big deal there. And she's the head designer of the Blush and Hayley Paige bridal collections. She signed a license deal with Hearts on Fire for wedding bands and engagement rings, something I'm gonna have to start, might have to call you Hayley. And in addition to her design work, she also has her own television show on TLC, and she has been featured in Say Yes to the Dress America. So let's bring Hayley on. Miss Hayley Paige, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm doing fine, and we're up in Tahoe actually, so I can't complain.
So if you're cool with that, I'm gonna get right into it.
Awesome. Ready.
Let's do it. All right. So I first want to start with your education. So I have had many guests on that have taken detours out of higher education, right? I've had people that didn't go to college, people that dropped out. I had one guest who actually got expelled. Now you're certainly on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? You went in as a pre-med major, an Ivy League school, Cornell, go Big Red. So I just want to hear like your overall thoughts on higher education and any advice for those who might be confused if higher education's for them and if they change their majors, just your thoughts given the fact that you changed your major as well.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to really be in tune with what you love and what you're gravitating toward. And I've always been a big academic. So I've loved math and science, and I always knew I wanted to go to college. It was something that I really fantasized, and I was very goal oriented in pursuing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also was somebody that didn't have a whole lot of confidence growing up. And so in school, I really had a lot of structure and responsibility, and I felt a purpose there.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like a no-brainer. I'm definitely going to go to college and make the most of this experience. But I think for me, design-wise, one of the biggest takeaways is that I really nurtured my craft and learned a lot of it through school. And although everybody does approach their crafts and their sports or their profession differently, for me, I needed to really learn it and study it and understand it to see it as a viable profession. So that was my takeaway, but I know everybody does approach education differently and not see it as something that was a huge catalyst in their success. But for me, I wanted to learn.
So how did you balance practicality of, being a doctor versus pursuing what you were meant to do?
That was something I kind of exercised like a muscle over time. But when I was young, I was exposed to creativity, and I loved romance and I love making things. And so I never really put that in the same category as my academics. And, saying I wanted to be a designer when I was young felt like me saying I wanted to be Batman, and it seems so far away from where I could get. And I think we all kind of struggle with this idea of something that feels formulaic, where if you study really hard, you get your MCAT score and you go and become a doctor, and it kind of feels more like a process that's achievable. Whereas with design, it just feels like I don't know anyone in the industry. There's already so many people doing it. How could I possibly make my wave? And so I had all these little doubts going on throughout my education and growing up. And luckily, I never let that kill my passion of wanting to be in design. Then so really in college is where everything kind of came together for me. And I started to really understand it and say, why am I pressuring myself and doing all these formulaic things when if I just study fashion and get really good at it, and give it a shot, who knows where it can lead? Give little things a shot, and then start to kind of calculate, okay, where am I going to strategize and traject into the future for my craft?
So what do you think, looking back on it, that you did that really differentiated you?
Yeah, I think knowing that there's competition out there is one of the best things to motivate you, because ultimately, I know that I am not the world's greatest designer. There's always somebody doing it better. And because of that, it really ignites the competition in me to show up every day, get a little bit better. And I would say being in sports growing up had a lot to do with this, because when you want to learn a new trick in gymnastics, you practice really hard, and you finally go into competition and you can totally fail at it. But the idea of learning how to fail and learning how to succeed and when that's really important for your career has really helped me in understanding where I sit with competition. But I also feel like it's important to approach the industry from a camaraderie perspective, and having that mindset of abundance. Like, there is plenty of room for all of us. And, you are the one thing that separates you from everyone else. It's you are than you. It's a quote from Dr. Seuss, but it's so true. It's like, you have to manifest and believe that you have something to offer that's different. And the way you show up and the kindness you show and just the way you want to create a culture is so important.
One thing you touched on was failures. You had mentioned that, some of your failures help shape you. Can you think about one, two, or one specific failure you had? Tell us about it and kind of how you bounced back from it and what you've learned from it.
Yeah, I think one of my weakest attributes is that I have a hard time admitting that I'm good at something. And I don't know where that really comes from. It could be almost like a female oriented thing where we're afraid to admit when we're good at something.
Yeah.
And so when I was in my early years of design, I was always afraid to go in and really value myself and say, like, I'm worth this and I know I can perform. And even though deep down inside me, I felt like I knew that, I was afraid to say it because I felt like somebody would see me as having a big head or having a big ego. And I think over the years, I've learned that the way you manifest your gift is about ownership and taking accountability for that gift and sharing it. And so one of my big mistakes was basically not valuing myself in the right way. And I didn't really find that out until, 10 years later. And now I'm really still trying to figure out how to best show up for people and be relatable without coming off as like, oh, I know everything. I know what I'm doing. But you want to show you that you're confident. It's a big lesson. And I think it does have a lot more to do with accountability.
So of the business, what do you think was one area you had probably the biggest challenge learning and, walk me through that process?
I think one of the biggest challenges for me is that I always want to go all in, like everything in the kitchen sink with every single design, like no limitations, no compromises. And then we come out with this gorgeous, stunning dress. But to actually manufacture it and create a production-friendly model that is cost-effective and more affordable. Like, there's so many things that actually go into the selling of the dress that I don't really think about at the design stage because I don't want to be so worried about price point that it's not as magnificent as she could be, So like, that is something that I struggle with, but over the years I've gotten better at. And I think this also speaks to how you diversify your business in that, you can't be everything to everyone, but I do know that my namesake collection runs from $3,000 to $8,000 and the majority of brides are not in that price point. So with us, we have a lower price point brand called Blush by Hayley Paige, which is a sister brand. And then we've also dabbled in other capsule collections, our newest being with Beholden that includes some cocktail pieces. And so it's nice to kind of diversify and scamper about your price points. And learn how to really still serve women in any price bracket, but still maintain the magic of what we want the Hayley Paige brand to be. So that's been a big challenge for me. And I think a lot of people that want to go into design, they assume, okay, I have to be the best at just this one thing for design. But I think business acumen is consistently overlooked when it comes to starting a design business. And the more experience and the more open you are to learning other areas of the company, even if you don't want to learn it or it's not your strength, you're still going to benefit from it. So that's something I've also learned. I feel like you can't just be one thing anymore. Yeah. And so something that I've always loved with our brand is I love animation and I love illustration and I love writing. So like all these little areas, it's like must be making something, like that's kind of always in my brain. And so I'm not afraid to kind of dabble in other areas where the creativity and the expression is still there, but it's not dresses. So for example, Holy Matchmoji is a free app that I created on the App Store, and it's just a new way to kind of give a dialogue to brides or bridesmaids or just girls that love the wedding industry. And, we're not making any money off of it, but it was a fun project and it pushed the boundaries of creativity for myself, especially in a technological way.
Yeah.
So doing stuff like that, and then also doing hand sketches, and really personalizing the process is so important for my brand. But I would say of all things, I'm just not afraid to be weird. I think being weird and being specific is such a wonderful thing to embrace.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of, I don't want to focus so much on who I might offend as much as I want to focus on who I might inspire. And, having that connection and that you like that weird thing too, me too, and it's like, you can have that one little magnetic connection with somebody and it really is so meaningful. So I think you can get caught up in being a bridal designer where you're just focused on hot dresses and bestsellers and all this stuff. But like, there is so much more magic to be had in creating these little nuances that are very specific to your brand. And I think that is really the special sauce that makes you stand out. And why a girl would say, I'd actually rather, I think I know her. I get that she put a unicorn in her dress and I like that, so it's like this one little thing that can really make a big difference. So yeah. I guess it's the little things.
Things and like what may be weird to others is just who you are. It's part of your personality, characters, traits, like express it and everything because that differentiates you. I think the other really cool thing is I think people think business and you're always thinking profit driven, gross income, make money, and to do something, create this like super creative app, knowing that you're not going to see a direct return from it, but you might see a different return in other areas is such an important piece of the puzzle that I think so many people overlook because they're so worried about the bottom dollar. So that's really cool. Good stuff. All right, we're going into restart rapid fire. I'm going to throw a few questions at you. Just want to hear your initial reaction, and then we'll wrap up, and you can let people know where they can find everything you have going on. So you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so first one, spring, summer, fall, or winter wedding? What would you say?
Winter.
Winter wedding. I'm a Buffalo guy. Bring on the snow.
I shocked myself. I want to be like skiing in a wedding dress.
Awesome. I mean, beautiful. Snow coming down. Can't beat it. Okay, this is a big hot topic. Do you go with like a classic 5-piece band or do you get a DJ?
DJ. Competing DJs like Burning Man.
So for weddings, do you recommend, based on everything you've seen, to hire a planner or to just do it yourself?
Hire a planner if you're not in the industry already and you don't know what to expect. Definitely go to the experts for help.
Okay, gotcha. Good advice. All right, so I know you do all the design work for the bride, but for the groom, do you like to see them in a tux, a suit, or other?
Tux.
Okay.
I love a fabulous like vintage tux. And also wardrobe changes is not out of the question for the groom anymore.
Recommend, so you wear a tux at the ceremony. What do you wear to the party? Something else?
Like a nice day suit or maybe like a sequin blazer or something fabulous. A top hat.
Yep, a top hat? I don't know if I can pull a top hat off, but I like that. Destination wedding or a hometown wedding?
Destination.
Okay, yeah. The biggest issue I have with that is less people. And I want everyone that like kind of is important in my life to be there. But Kaitlyn's big on destination too.
Yeah, it's like a vacation, not just for you as a couple, but like everyone coming. It's a big weekend thing.
Would you rather design a celebrity's dress for a red carpet, or would you rather design a wedding dress?
Wedding, all the way, like every day, all day. For a quick minute, it's like the red carpet world for celebrities there's so many. They go to so many red carpets. Yeah. Whereas like the wedding is the red carpet for every girl, so it's like such a bigger occasion.
All right, Hayley, thank you so much. That was all we have. I really appreciate this. Has been informative, inspiring. I think it's so cool to listen about the way you've diversified your business, the way you've learned from, dealing with self-doubt and pursuing your passion and building literally every single day upon what you've already built. It's amazing. So for everyone watching, where can they find you? What's going on? What's next? Give it all to us.
I am Hayley Paige, the wedding dress designer, but I also have a new podcast out called All That Glitters, and it's co-hosted with my fiance, Conrad Lewis, and we've loved this project. It's a whole new medium for us. My website is hayleypaige.com, and I also have a YouTube channel, which is more informative and on the design side of things. And yeah, on the gram. I'm always on the gram. I live in my DMs.
Well, Hayley, thank you so much for your time. This has been absolutely amazing. We appreciate it, and congratulations on everything you have going on.
Thank you so much. I believe in everything you're doing. So on behalf of everyone else, we appreciate it. Take care.
Take care. All right. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another Restart Real Talk. That was amazing. Hayley's story is honestly just incredible. The way, she came from Cornell Ivy League pre-med to now designing internationally renowned wedding dresses. I got a text from my mom this morning. And I said, Mom, do you have any questions? I know you're a big Hayley Paige fan. She said, yeah, does she make the groom's mother dresses too? So you'll like that one. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We have a great guest list coming up, and we've already had just amazing guests so far. Sean Johnson, Andrew East. We've had two of the sharks from Shark Tank, the CEO of Barstool Sports. The list goes on. It's been phenomenal, and thank you guys for your support, because without it, we couldn't make it happen.